Okay. That was not a great clap. Okay, I know I did this in a recent video. I think it was chapter 15, might have been 14, where like I started with the clap and it was like, oh, that one wasn't that great either. That one was okay. But to me it sounded really flat, and I did it again and I was like, oh, that was clean, that was crisp, that was fantastic. And then I listened to the video later, because what I try to do is after I put it on YouTube, I download it onto my computer so that way I can delete it from my phone so I can make more space. And I listened to the first clap and the second clap, and they sounded almost the same. I was like, oh, I guess that's just a me thing. But I mean, hey, I'm talking about Project Horizons in depth. This whole video series is a me thing. If you watch it, I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here. I'm kind of surprised you're here. But, let's get into it, shall we? Project 16 wait, what was I trying to say there? Yeah, Project 16 of Chapter Horizons. There we go. Walk the Hard Road. This is the end of Volume 1. This is the end of the Security Mare. Going into this chapter, I have to say, I remember it being one of my favorites, and a lot of that was for the climax. I didn't remember a lot. Okay, so some of the things I remembered is Blackjack going to the club and meeting Daft Punk, but I wasn't sure if that was here or a little bit later. I was like, I think that happens here, because she goes in and she asks for help, and then they like turn up the music and turn up the lights. I was like, that was really cool. I remember the Deuce fight, and I remembered Gemini and Tauros. But some of the other things, like the moment with Dusk, Blackjack's her reunion with P21, I didn't remember as well as I had before. It's almost kind of like Play, where I feel like there's some moments from the chapter that I remembered, and I remembered the vibe and the atmosphere of the chapter. Whereas Play was survival horror, holy shit. This is holy shit. Like, it is like almost a pure adrenaline chapter. And if you can't tell, I liked it a lot. I think it's my favorite so far. Now we're gonna have, what's 80 minus 16? 64? That sounds about right. I think we're gonna have 64 more chapters, and I know there's gonna be some real contenders for the top spot. 22 is one of my favorites. 63 is one of my favorites. No, sorry, not 63. Actually, wait. Yeah, sorry, because 63 is the start of Volume 5. I'm thinking of 65, which is when you get all of the information and the context and when you meet Cogs. That is a chapter that I love. Under the Lucidity Run... I don't know why I can't talk and I'm super tongue-tied. Even a little more than usual, it seems. I don't know, maybe I'm still kind of tired. 66 is gonna hit a lot harder under the Lucidity Run. I did it again! Fuck! The Lucidity Runs, I guess. That's when Steel Rain melts. And oh boy, again, with how I'm looking at the story, that is going to be so fucking satisfying to read. But when it comes to this chapter, the reason I loved it, I think partly is because the last few chapters I've been a lot more tepid on. I liked 15 quite a bit, and I said that in the video, and 13 wasn't like, it's alright. But by the time it gets to the end, and for me, again, the Lucidity Lens, I said it right that time, I actually said the fucking L. The Lucidity Lens kicks in. I think it's a really good and, like, poignant chapter. But the last few overall, like, they've had some good moments I haven't loved. And having a chapter that from start to finish, I'm like, I don't have a lot to say. Or, like, I have a lot to say. I don't know how long this video is, but you already know how much I'm gonna have to say about it, a little bit more than I do. But, fuck, what was I saying? What was my point? I don't have a lot of negatives or critiques. That's where I was going for. Even when it comes to this being a more action-y chapter, because I've said it, I say it all the time, and I even say I'm gonna keep saying it the entire time. There is this dichotomy with Blackjack's character that oftentimes feels antithetical to itself. We've got badass, gunslinging, catchphrase spewing, whiskey drinking Blackjack. And she's so cool. Like, I genuinely love action hero Blackjack. But then you also have more introspective, killing as a last resort, I'm not an executioner Blackjack, which I also like. But they don't often go together. Again, like, I get it. Chapter 13 was a lot. So in chapter 14, Blackjack is not feeling great. The way 14 reads is, hey, I'm gonna, like, just cause... I don't know if distraction's really the right word. It's like, I'm gonna cause a scene and a disturbance. And if people come and they want to fight and it means I get to kill people and vent my frustration, that's fine by me. And like, yeah, that, but I guess you're not an executioner, right? Like, that doesn't feel right. But then you do get chapters like this, where she's got a body count in this chapter, and don't worry, we're gonna get to it. My girl in book 1 put up numbers. But, oh god, I can't. Book 2 is gonna be crazy, because, like, most of it is gonna be carried by Damned, but she's gonna have numbers in volume 2. 1,000 is not out of reach. Anyway. I know, like, for someone who's very critical of Blackjack killing people, I get really excited when she kills a lot of people. Here's my point, though. There's 3 groups of people that she has to deal with in this chapter. First are the Zodiacs. Sorry, no. I'm sorry, I just, like, thought of, like, fucking JoJo posting. It's like, wait, I don't think that's ever been a thing. Because stands are mostly, like, music themed, and then the originals were the tarot, and then the Egyptian gods. I'm actually kind of surprised we never got, like, Zodiac themed ones. Either, like astrology or the Chinese Zodiac, which, granted, I mean, I don't know what you do with just, like, a regular rooster, but that Magician's Red is kind of a bird. Anyways, sorry. Going off topic. That's how you know it's one of my... That's how you know I'm cooking. Where I'm all over the kitchen. Anyways, group number 1 are the Zodiacs. And this is not her first time dealing with the Zodiacs. She's been attacked by Virgo. She's been attacked by Leo. She's been nearly killed. She's trying to defend herself. To me, it really feels like she's trying to get them to stop. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to. Sorry about this, but we're going to kill you anyways. So I'm like, you know what? Blackjack, it feels like she's trying, and they're not giving her the chance. If she got to take care of them, they go on the count, but I'm not going to give her a lot of shit for it. The Pecos, this one to me is a little more iffy, because, like, okay, they're attacking her, she's trying to escape, and when they're doing the fight in the club, and it's cool. Like I said, she runs into Daft Punk, which, when I first read Horizons, I got this, like, is this Daft Punk? The fuck? That's kind of cool. Like, I'm not, like, huge into Daft Punk, but I think this is kind of neat. In hindsight, because I listened to all of Daft Punk's albums earlier this year, like the studio albums. I don't know if there's, like, live albums and, like, EPs and shit that I didn't listen to. But anyways, I listened to a lot of Daft Punk earlier. I'm like, no, Daft Punk fucking rules. This to me is a little bit cooler. It's like, guys, can you help me? Turns up the music. That's an absolute fucking mess of a light show. Like, oh, this is so cool. It's one of those moments where... There's a good amount of moments like this in the story. The one that sticks in my mind and will stick in my mind forever is Blackjack's fight with Dawn in Volume 4. And as much as I have talked about it and criticized it for I fucking hate the fact that Blackjack just lets her go, the fight is awesome. I have wanted to play that fight in, like, a Kingdom Hearts style action game because it was, like, I remember reading, like, this is so fucking cool, man. This is one of those scenes, like, I know it can't happen. It's recursive fan fiction based on friendship is magic and Fallout. I would never get an adaptation of Fallout Equestria, and I would never get an adaptation of Project Horizons. But man, this is one of those moments like, if this was a game, I would love to play it. It would be an amazing set piece, like the Children of the Elder God scene from Alan Wake. Or if this was just like a show, this would be a great fucking episode. This scene would be an absolute highlight. But to my point with the Pecos, these are just bounty hunters. These are people who are just after her. She could fight to disarm and disengage, as I say. I give her a bit of a pass in this chapter because there's other shit. And it's like, granted, there's always going to be shit on Blackjack's mind. It's the wasteland. Also, the lucidity lens. Like, this whole thing is her mind. I don't want to make a precedent of, hey, you're going through a lot. It's okay that you slaughtered people. But with the specific stress that she is under in this chapter, to me, it very much feels like I really don't have time to be able to negotiate and play it safe. I've got a dude with a missile launcher and his twin ghost sisters trying to kill me. I have the fucking Terminator himself trying to kill me. I don't have time to play nice with Team Rocket right now. I can't, as much as I want to, I feel like in good faith and context, can't give Blackjack shit for this. And the other group she fights, it's just Deuce. I mean, there's also a thing with Dusk, but like, well, yeah, it doesn't even really count. Yeah, it's Deuce. You get no shit from me for this. This is the dude that fucked up your home, fucked up your life, has been trying to kill you, has made it clear that he wants to do way more than just that to you. It goes on the count, but you're not gonna get any shit from me with this one, Blackjack. So, the action is really cool. With the context of what happens in the chapter, I can't even be that mad at Blackjack for her bloodbath. That's a recipe for good shit. But on top of that, I forgot just how well the character moments in this chapter work. We've got Blackjack's reunion with P21, and a lot of these I'm going to go more in detail when I actually talk about the plot-by-plot notes. This is... I know I mentioned this. I tried doing this video last week, I think on Wednesday, but I had a bunch of texts coming in, and it was like, oh, this is stuff I need to take care of. So I had to stop the video, and by the time that was done with, I was like, okay, I'm not feeling it anymore. That one felt a lot more organized and streamlined, and I wasn't saying lucidity rends because I didn't know how to talk anymore. But it is what it is. You know, we go as we go, and sometimes the way we go is like this, sometimes the way we go is like this, and it all ends up looking like Jeremy Barham. That's still my favorite joke in The Good Place. I watch that scene at least once every couple months. It's perfect. Anyways, point. What was my point? Fuck. The character moments. Thank you. Blackjack and her reunion with P21, I fucking love. Blackjack confronting U21 is great. I love Glory's reaction when she sees Blackjack and P21 in the slave collar. She's like, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know how to function with this. At one point, I think she starts crying. She starts threatening P21. She's like, dude, I'll fucking kill you if you don't do this. What the fuck, man? This poor girl. That's a hashtag poor girl for sure. Rampage just gets to be Rampage. I think the shit with Dusk is interesting. Again, like some character shit for Glory. This chapter has by far my favorite moment of the story so far. Even more than the hush now, quiet now at the end of play. Even more than that scene in Ante Up where it's the, what do you want, Blackjack? What do you want, Blackjack? 'Cause I loved that scene. Even more than like the thing in Prices when she has Rose. Oh yeah, play has a gun here. When she... Oh my god, that's so funny. I do not know how to fix this. Oh, okay, there we go. I'm fucking crying. That was so funny. Oh boy. When she has frozen gunpoint. It's not a funny scene. Give me a second. Take a deep breath. Drink water. I don't have a bottle with me. The scene when she has Rose at gunpoint and is basically saying, give me a fucking reason to pull the trigger. And she's killed a lot of people in this chapter, and she's counting her kills, which I appreciate. And she keeps counting one more when she's with Rose. Like, give me a reason. Give me a fucking reason to add you to my count, and decides not to. I think it's a really good scene. My favorite moment in the first book, and I know there's going to be some contenders down the line, and when I think about it, a lot of them are Glory scenes, with Blackjack and Glory at the end of 22 talking about Gin Rummy. We've got Glory's death at the end of 71. A couple contenders. It's at the end of the chapter, at the end of all of this stress and bullshit, at the end of, Glory dealing with the fact that, hey, my sister's here and wants me dead, and yay. And P21 dealing with all of his anger and his issues, and now Deuce is dead, and the shit with Minnie just happened, and Blackjack, I don't know if I would say this is her lowest point of the story at this time. It's definitely not her lowest point in the story. I would personally say that's probably the end of 22, off the top of my head. Like, yes, we've got 33, which, like, holy shit. But it's the mentality. She was physically super unwell, that's really putting it lightly, throughout 33. But from what I remember, she was kind of mentally still there. And then you've got, like, the entirety of 23 and the end of 22, where she's just not. After all this, and she looks her best friend in the eye, and for all intents and purposes says, I made sure that I survived today to give you the chance to put me in the ground yourself. Do it. And he doesn't, and he hugs her. And then Glory comes in, and she hugs her too. Also, because it's not just that, it's him also telling her, the reason I am your friend and that I travel with you, because there's things I can forgive and there's things I can't forgive. Not yet. Maybe not ever. It's because I see how much you try. I see how much you suffer. I see the load that you shoulder and that you carry, and that's so hard. And anyone who would willingly do that to themselves, I don't think is a bad person. You've got problems. Like I said, there's shit I don't think I could ever forgive. But I can give you a lot of slack because you need it. And he hugs her, and she hugs her, and at face value, I think it's a really good moment. I'm like, yeah, I like the scene a lot. From the lucidity lens of Blackjack's anger and frustration and her desire for vengeance of, like, the people that have wronged her and fucked up her life, telling that to her and holding her, and her lost innocence, the way she viewed herself before everything went to shit, joining in. I've talked about how, from the lucidity lens, Project Horizons is Blackjack's story of self-love. It is her story of acceptance and moving forward, but I think the big thing is learning to really love herself, with her two companions, the two people she loves most, representing various versions of herself, and them coming together and having that moment. I almost cried. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that hit hard. Like, that is some Madeline and Badeline kind of shit for me. I feel like I've said this several times. Like, I haven't even gotten to, like, the beat by beat shit. We're already 20 minutes in. This one might be long, y'all. Again, you would know better than me. I'm really, really glad that I'm not only rereading Project Horizons, but I chose to view it through this lens. Because to me, it makes the story, and it makes Blackjack so much more interesting to me, so much more sympathetic, so much more empathetic. I guess I'm more empathetic to her. I don't know if I'm gonna do a video on book one as a whole. I don't know what I would do with it. I'm like, here's all the good Lucidity Lens moments. Or I'm like, okay, I would just be talking about a lot of the book, because if you've been watching these, there's a lot of them. I don't know if I want to do, like, my favorite kill. There's so fucking many. There's so many kills. I don't know where I would even go for, like, a golden chainsaw. There's a contender in this chapter. I don't even know if it technically counts. I'm counting it because, come on, how can I not? But if you've read the story, you probably know what I'm talking about. I don't know, maybe I'll kind of I guess I'll just do an overall thoughts now before really getting into more of the weeds of the chapter. Book one is a lot better than I thought it was going to be, because I remember not liking it, and I think with some moments and some exceptions, again, Play and Walk the Hard Road had always really stuck out, and Blackjack getting those, not the memory orbs, but her listening to the recordings of what happened with P2-1 and kind of piecing that together was shit I really loved. The big problem I had was, number one, I did not like the Raider virus shit, because I was like, that's not what Raiders are in Fallout Equestria, and this, and, because, you know, that was well done English. The other thing was, I just didn't like Blackjack and how whiny and hypocritical she felt, and rereading it, the Raider virus, I'm a lot more willing to forgive. I still prefer what it is in the original story, but in a vacuum, it being this kind of, like, T-virus Resident Evil shit, I think is kind of fun. I like some of the things we get from it later, like 22, and, okay, I don't know how much I really love all of Light Hooves' shit. Maybe I will a lot more when I get to it again. But it is important. It's not just like, hey, fuck the original, I'm gonna do my thing. Like, there's a lot that's done with it in the story, so I'm a lot more forgiving to it. And when it comes to Blackjack herself, I think the first third, she's kind of infuriating. I can see the vision, but I don't know if it super works. Second third, fantastic. Last third, I feel like we get more to the inconsistency. We get to her feeling more whiny, because I don't think she's following through on some of her shit. Again, those, the pilgrims going to get vaporized by the core, and Blackjack freaking out, be like, no, that's not okay, you can't do that, life is important, life is precious, you can't just do this shit, is a lot more impactful if she hadn't just killed 9 people because she was drunk. It doesn't always work. But I have found, because of this alternate, like, interpretation, not everything works, but a lot more of it does, and it just feels a lot more interesting and understandable. So I definitely like book one a lot more than I dislike it on a second read. We'll see how the rest of the story goes, but now let's actually see how the fucking chapter goes. Let's talk about, like, the beat by beat. 25 minutes. Fuck, this has been as long as, like, episode 4 of Dan to Dan, which was fantastic, by the way. When Dan and Dan started playing the overture in the can, I lost my ding-dang mind. Let's see. Okay, so I've basically talked about my overall thoughts. I just had to check my notes. Like, did I fucking miss anything? No, I don't think I did. Okay, so the basic plot. Blackjack is reunited with P21. She's able to apologize to him. I do love that first interaction when, she wakes up, she's got the collar, U21's holding the detonator, P21's almost kind of like all smug, like, did you miss me, Blackjack? Yes! And just, like, gives him a hug, just, like, licks him like a fucking, like an Animaniacs character. And P21's like, get the fuck off me, what are you doing? But also does seem a little happy to see her and to know that she's okay. U21 is like, I got the detonator, I can blow you sky high. You gotta do what I tell you. And Blackjack just keeps laughing. He's like, dude, I'm not scared of you. What do you mean you're not scared? I can kill you. Okay, dude. Do you want to know about the past few days? Do you want to know what I've been up to? The shit I've had to deal with? I fought a Hydra yesterday. I killed a Hydra yesterday. I've killed dragons. I got drunk as hell and killed like 10 people. I blew up an enclave carrier thing. I've been literally shot through the heart and kept walking. I have dealt with addiction, bounty hunters, other kinds of bounty hunters. I've seen so much. You just don't measure up. I'm not scared of you. And here's the thing. I know you won't pull that trigger. Not because you're not man enough or anything like that, but because of the consequences when you do. Do you want to know about my friends? There's him. I don't think he'd want you to do it, because he wants to do it. And if you take his kill, oh boy, you might be in chunks. There might be a little bit of you over there, a little bit of you over there, a little bit of you over there. By the way, another one of my friends, have you ever seen what a beam pistol can do? Have you ever seen someone get disintegrated? I have. It's not pretty. She's gonna do that to you. And then there's my other friend, new friend. Don't know her super well, but she's a Reaper, and your boss is a Reaper. We're gonna put a pin in him, by the way, but she's a Reaper, and she is going to rip and tear the shit out of you if you so much as hurt me. Now let's take that pin out. Speaking of people who want to hurt me, your boss. If you kill me and deny him the chance to do whatever shit he's been really wanting to do to me, you think he's gonna forgive you? You think he's gonna let that slide? Nah. I'm not scared of you. Because of the shit that I've seen. I'm not scared of you because I think you're smart enough to not pull that trigger. And 3, even if you did, my best bud over there wouldn't have actually given you the detonator. Either the detonator is fake or this thing around my neck is fake. Tell him, buddy. No, it's real. Like 100%. You could be blown sky high. The fact that you are acting like this and are so nonchalant and cavalier when there's a literal bomb around your neck is... It's so... you... And it's kind of awesome, and I hate it at the same time. And then Blackjack's response of just like, oh, well, I stand corrected. I don't have 3 reasons anymore, I'm just at 2. But they're a pretty dang good 2 reasons. And U21, who starts the scene like, you gotta do what I say because I got the detonator, just slowly but surely realizes, oh, I think she's right. Maybe she's right. If I pull the trigger, I'm absolutely fucked. Oh. oh no. Now what do I do? Blackjack's just like, hey buddy, it's okay. You've been through a lot. You're a stallion from 99. You've been through a lot. And I know I'm responsible for at least some of that myself. And I don't know if this will mean anything from me, but I am sorry about what you went through, and I am sorry about the part I played. I don't think I'm really in a position with the shit I've done and what I've got around my neck to be able to say, hey, no hard feelings, let's see if we can move forward. But no hard feelings. And Blackjack has a drink, because of course, and then JJNW'S like has a drink with her and like has to go and get himself cleaned up because he's like stressing. I think they like pissed or shit himself or something. It wouldn't surprise me. And then she gets to talk to P21 for a bit. And he's like, Blackjack, what the fuck? Okay, you've been through a lot since I last saw you. Holy shit. And are you okay? Yes. I don't know. I'm figuring that out, but I'm here. And I wanted to be able to see you again. You're my friend. I wanted to make sure I could come back for you. He's like, I actually didn't think you would. After that fight we had at the mine and like the shit that I wanted you to do and the shit you said, I thought we were done. No. And it had the same feel to me as my favorite scene from Firefly. So it is the end of the Big Damn Heroes episode, but it is not that particular scene. The very end of the episode is Simon approaches Mal. I don't remember who goes up to who first, but they have this short conversation where Simon's like, look, why did you come back for us? Because you're on my crew. No. Be honest with me, dude. You and I don't see eye to eye. We don't agree on anything. My sister is way more trouble than she's worth to you because of this, and this. Why did you come back? Because you're on my crew. Why are we still talking about this? My favorite moment in the entire show. And to me, that's basically what Blackjack was saying to P21. Like, you're one of the Sentinels. You're my friend. I don't care about the issues. Let me rephrase. I care about the issues you have with me because they're understandable, and I want to be able to talk about it and work out a solution, even if the solution is you hitting the button on the detonator. That's fine, but I want to find that shit out. But even if that wasn't the case, you're my friend. I was gonna come find you. Love that shit, man. So let's see, what else do we got? So after this is when the Zodiacs arrive. This is when we get the Gemini twins. So JJN dies, and his final lines are, Project Chimera. I actually fucking hate that. I think it's pretty stupid. Like, here's the thing, like, Project Chimera, I know the word is probably chimera. To me, chimera rolls off the tongue way better, so even if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I apologize, that's how I say it. That's Sanguine's thing, and because this whole thing is getting EC 1101 for Sanguine, it makes sense to bring it up. We've kind of seen it before in Trottenheimer's log. He talks about PC and True Blood, or like TB and PC. All goes together. I get wanting to bring it up and kind of establish it, so it is a recurring thing. I believe it's a recurring thing in part 2 when you actually start really dealing with Sanguine and his droogs, like with Brass, and I think you fight Precious in part 2 as well. You don't kill her, obviously. And obviously, when you get to Hippocratic, like, alright, we understand what Project Chimera is, and then you understand what Project Chimera is. But I'm also like, this is what he says in his final moments. It's, let me give you a hint as to some of the shit, but being kind of vague about it and not like, I'm sorry, or like, I don't want to die. Like, I don't know. It just felt like, it's not like I super know U2-1 or I'm like really gonna analyze him or anything. Like, is that really what he would want to say with his final breaths of life? I don't know about that, Chief. It just felt a little weird. I get it, but it felt a little weird and a little off. But they're getting attacked by the Zodiacs. Tauros has his rifle. Tauros has his missile launcher. The Gemini twins are going ghost and doing cool shit. It's kind of awesome. And Blackjack and P21 get out of the hotel room by, like, basically blowing up a bathtub and sliding from the bathtub, like, into, like, the main street. It's a really cool moment. Like, this is so, like, dumb and goofy in the best possible way. I remember describing episode 4 of Dan Today, like the chase scene in particular, as this scene is how it feels watching like any episode of Symphogear. The bathtub shit is like, this feels like some goofy Symphogear shit. I loved it. And then when that happens, when they're in the middle of town, there's Deuce, so we know shit's about to go down. They reunite with Glory. He's like, Blackjack, I found you. Me too, and I found you. Why do you have a collar? What's going on? She's been through a lot, man. And then Glory, like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. There's Deuce. There's a bunch of Pecos, and there's some Zodiacs. I am target numero uno. Y'all go hide in the stable like the rest of the, like basically the rest of the town is doing. I'll distract him. I'll hold him off. And both P21 and Glory are like, no, we're not doing that. We are not leaving you behind. You came back for us. We're not going to turn our backs on you. Like, all right, Sentinel's on 3, you know? And Blackjack's like, but I did all this surviving to find you two, and this is all my shit, and I really don't want you guys to get hurt because of me. I'm like, well, you're on our crew. That ain't how friendship works, idiot. So they run into the club and they're like, hey, Daft Punk, can you help us? So they turn up the music, they light the lights, and they fight a bunch of Pecos, and it's fun and it's cool. Rampage, I think at one point Rampage like hooks her tail, which has this razor wire, like on someone's neck and just fucking drags them until they get decapitated. It was cool, man. Like, Blackjack was doing fucking work. But, like, they go into the club, kick some ass, go to the roof, and I think that's when they get to Dusk. Yeah, so that's when they get to Dusk, who shows up, tries to kill Glory, and Blackjack shows no mercy, like, fucks her shit, is about to kill her, because A, Enclave, after what just happened, Enclave is just purely on site, and 2, I am not letting anybody hurt her. So, which, thinking about it in hindsight, it was in, I think it was in chapter 8, when P21 was telling her, it's like, dude, if someone hurts one of the crew, like, if someone hurts our friends, they forfeit their, that's a 30, sorry, I saw the thing, it was like, 48 minutes already? No, that's a 3, I don't know how to read numbers. So, like, hey, if they go after us, their lives are forfeit. Which is something Blackjack doesn't always do. And I think, given her mindset, she should not be. But this is like, no. I'm not letting this one slide. And she almost kills Dusk, and then they take the helmet off. And like, wait, she just looks like Glory. The fuck? And they've got this little sister moment, which essentially boils down to, you are not the first fucking Dashite from our family, and somehow you didn't learn. That recording fucked over everything. Dad's fucked. I'm fucked. So I'm here to kill you. Because if I can do that, I can prove that we're still loyal. And that our family isn't this fucking cancer to Thunderhead. Blackjack gives her the ultimatum of, get the fuck out, or I will splatter the paint, the walls with your brains. Because I don't remember exactly what the line was. It was something where Dusk is like, she killed 9 Enclave soldiers, and Blackjack like, if you don't leave, it's gonna be dead. That was cold as hell. I loved that. But she leaves and just tells Glory, change your name, change your appearance, do whatever you can to distance yourself from the family name, and if I ever so much as get a fucking whiff that you are still alive, I will finish the job myself. And they try to tell her, it's like, this is what actually happened. Lego's piece of shit. It's like, look, I heard a recording. I'm gonna choose to believe what I actually heard over your bullshit story. Fuck you, sis, and leaves. What a nice character. Can't wait for her to be part of the final party. Because that happens. We got big picture moments. We'll get to that. But, we get that. That's some shit that happens. They go... So now they go to the roof. They fight the Zodiacs again. And there's this bit where Blackjack realizes when the twins go ghost, I can still hit them with magic. So she hits Minnie trying to kill her, I think with the mind bullets, which fucks up the intangibility, so she gets stuck in a wall and she can't do it anymore and she can't move. And everything stops at that point because Minnie can't do anything. Jem is like, that's my sister, I have to be after her. And Taurus, who sees he sees his two sisters in this situation, immediately stops shooting, like, what the fuck happened? I have to look after them. And Blackjack goes from, I know I just tried to kill you because you're my enemy, and oh, this is bad. This is not what I was trying to do at all. Fuck. I'm skipping a little bit ahead, but one of the last things to happen in the chapter, and I remember this is a recurring moment. It's something that Blackjack thinks about a lot, if I'm remembering correctly, because I feel like this memory shows up a lot, is she's got, let me be careful so it doesn't fall apart again. She's got the gun, she points it at Minnie, but she can't pull the trigger. Because she's not an executioner. Even though Minnie wants her to pull the trigger, and Blackjack's like, this is a thing I should do, she can't do it. And Minnie says to her, you're a good person, Miss Blackjack, and uses her magic to pull the trigger herself, and she dies. I'm still putting that on Blackjack's count, by the way. The other two, I'm not, because that was Deuce. Like, look, you put her in the wall, it was your gun, I'm gonna count it for Blackjack's numbers. This is also one of those moments I just don't like. And I talked about it in an earlier chapter. Like, I'm not an executioner. I don't remember if she actually says it, because I don't think she said any catchphrases in this chapter, but it's the sentiment. When you have a kill count like Blackjack's, it doesn't work. And I know I've said there are kills that you're not gonna get shit from me on this, Blackjack. There's a lot that I still give her shit from, and it's not like I actually have it separated in her final tally of like, these are the ones that are on the count, but she gets a pass, because a kill is still a kill, which is kind of one of the points of Project Horizons. It doesn't matter how justified you are, it doesn't matter if this was a terrible person, if this was self-defense, you are still taking a life. It's just a matter of how many of those can you live with? How many can you justify and keep going? It's one of the things I really like about Worm. Not to say that Taylor is like a serial killer or anything, but just that I am a good person and I can keep justifying the really shady and or shitty or sometimes like downright diabolical shit that I do. It's fascinating. Blackjack being able to kill a fuck ton of people without blinking, or like, hey, these are some people who are after my bounty. I'm not going to try to talk to them. I'm not going to try to disengage or disarm like I did in Stockyard. Red is dead. But then you've got someone who she tried to kill, put in a shitty situation, like, I can put you down, this person wants to be put down, now I can't pull the trigger. Like, heat of the moment, I get it, but I'm also like, this works a lot better if Blackjack doesn't kill people. Like, full stop. When you've killed hundreds of people, like, she's over triple digits, not being able to kill someone who's literally begging you for it just doesn't hit for me the way it's supposed to, and I just kind of get annoyed. But then we get Deuce. Deuce shows up and immediately looks at the Zodiacs and goes, first, the distractions. And like, again, cold ass line. I kind of love it. So he's fighting Blackjack, and Blackjack does the little Pip thing where it's like, hey, I know I was taking drugs and it's bad, and now I stopped doing it, but I gotta do a thing, so let me use all the drugs. For little Pip, it was, okay, so I'm gonna convince Red Eye to give me a bomb. I need my, like, speech super fucking high to do this. Blackjack was, I'm fighting the Terminator, I gotta put every chem in my body. So she does that, and she cuts his dick off because it's Blackjack. Of course she cut his dick off. And, the way he gets killed is they put the bomb collar onto a, like, big-ass thing of dynamite, put it on his back, it blows up and does an absolute fuckload of damage, but he's still alive, fires at her with his cannon, it backfires, and that explodes, and he's dead. He's not coming back. Ugh, it's so stupid. I'm sorry. I know we saw the tank earlier, so that at least makes sense in a way. But you're gonna tell me he's alive after this, and like they literally collect his parts for scrap and use it to rebuild Blackjack later? How is he alive? This is... I'm gonna have words when we get... There's some... God, is that the same chapter? It's either the same chapter or the chapter right after the really makes you miss party time mental scene. Oh man, there is some bad shit in Volume 4, man. We've got that. We got Blackjack letting Dawn go. Volume 4 is lucky that the Society arc is really fucking good. And I liked all the political Game of Thrones shit, because otherwise just... it would have been bad. Anyways, the Deuce fight happens, and it is really cool. And the way he dies is cool as hell. And then after that, again, Blackjack's like, P21, you want to kill me? Kind of. But I won't. And then you get the group hug, which is beautiful. So some of the big picture moments from this chapter, like I said, Project Chimera being name dropped, and I get it, but I think it's a weird last lines for this character. They do meet this one druggie. It's Moon Dust. He's like, are you guys moon ponies? I thought to myself, no, hun. We don't get moon ponies till chapter 74. It's gonna be a while till we get moon ponies. There's this scene where Blackjack finds Octavia's music and like uploads it to her Pip book. And it's something I remember her listening to a few times. I think it happens like during the fight with Blue Blood, like they play it and it distracts him for a bit. And I think when they have Thorn's funeral, I think they play some Octavia music. I could be wrong. There might be other scenes as well. But I remember it coming in a few times. Dusk is a recurring character. I don't think she appears super often. I think she's the Enclave soldier Blackjack hitches a ride on in 23. That might have been someone else, some Brambob. But she does show up a few times. There's another reference to, I don't remember if they specifically said mom, it might have been, but there's kind of another allusion to Dawn and being a Dashite. Dawn is a very important character later. Like I did mention, she is part of the final party. Blackjack's final party, with the exception of herself, is entirely comprised of enemies. Different characters representing different factions, although there's like 3 zebras. So there's kind of 3 members of the Remnant, because Lancer, Pythia, who are both Remnant characters, and then Xanth. And I don't remember how involved in that Xanth was, so that kind of counts, but she was still like kind of an enemy. Dusk is our Enclave representative and is kind of our Glory stand-in, I suppose, because I mean there's another Pegasus in the final party, but Whisper is not a Glory stand-in. God, I'm so excited to get to Whisper. I know she first appears in book 2 because they fight in the arena. They fight in Hippocratic, and then she's a party member for Hightower. She's like not in book 4, gets to do some shit in part 5, and is part of the final party. I know I've said it before. She is one of my favorite characters in the story. Not Dusk, Whisper. And I actually don't think Blackjack got Taurus's rifle in this chapter. I think they specifically mentioned, like, he has a missile launcher, he has this one rifle, and it becomes one of Blackjack's recurring weapons. And there's a bit way later, this is like book 4 or 5, where she encounters the Highlanders, who, if I remember, they're basically the, like, hillfolk, redneck kind of characters. And Taurus was a member of them, and I think she gives them his rifle as kind of like a sign of respect, whatnot. And I think the Highlanders end up showing up to help at the end. And they're led by Big Mama, who's like an old like romantic flame and rival of Big Daddy and shit. Like it ends up kind of becoming a thing. It's not even a super big picture thing. It's like, oh yeah, it's a recurring weapon. There's some shit that kind of happens later, but all right. So with all that, 51 minutes in, let's talk about our characters. Which, granted, I feel like quite a bit of this I've already said. But maybe not. We'll see. Like I said, this is going to be a long one. Blackjack and her reunion with P21, what I really like about it is it shows her willingness and ability to actually trust in her friends. Because immediately, as she says to U21, I don't think he actually did this. I don't. And to be fair, it's less of a he wouldn't put me in this situation. It's more of a he wouldn't give you the chance to finish me off. But there's still some trust there. And like I did mention the very Malcolm Reynolds-esque scene of like, I will always come for you. And what I also like is once they get out of like, they escape the Zodiac, they're still figuring shit out. They run into Glory. Glory's like, okay, cool. She's got a bomb collar. That's your specialty. You could take it off, right? And he says, no. Like, I'm not doing that yet. And like I said, I love Glory's reaction. But I really like that from P21. Even though they've now been reunited, they've kind of talked about some shit. He knows that my friendship means something to her. She wasn't just going to abandon me. She trusts me. I can't completely let this go yet. I find that really interesting. And again, as like the representation of Blackjack's anger, that makes a lot of sense. As the representation of Blackjack saying, the people who wronged me need to be hurt, it makes a lot of sense. And if Blackjack really does blame herself for what happened to her, it makes a lot of sense. Also, yeah, I just love how she's just laughing when she sees him and she hugs him. And there's this one dialogue interaction that I copied and wrote down as I wanted to share it. She says to him, you know, I've been thinking, to which he says, that must have hurt. Like, I'm sorry. I love jokes like that. I thought it was really funny. I talked about the killing and her shit. I don't love the thing with the Pecos, but it's cool. The thing with Minnie, I don't like it. So her thing with Deuce, the fact that he is the embodiment, to me, like he represents the actual sexual assault that she suffered from Steel Rain. He represents her abuse. He represents her torment. And not only does she beat him and overcome him, she emasculates him. That feels meaningful. That to me feels important. It's a way for her to be able to conquer this and kind of start to move forward. And the title of the chapter, walk the hard road. From what P21 is saying to her during that last conversation, you don't take the easy way out. You are trying to confront the things that you've done. You're trying to become a better person, and it's not easy, and you make a lot of mistakes, but you keep trying. You keep fighting. It's hard, but you are making progress. And like I said, it's her past, her present, and her future all coming together to embrace her and letting her know she's going to be okay. That is my favorite moment in the story so far. I think, as I say here in my notes, she experiences a form of self-love. It's beautiful. Moving on to my girl, Morning Glory. This poor girl, man. She's lost her innocence. She's lost her identity. Now she's lost her family. I don't know how much of that Blackjack also went through. There's a non-zero chance. Like I said, her she's willing to kill P21 if he didn't take the collar off, I think is really interesting. Glory is not just Blackjack before the incident. To me, Glory is Blackjack before the incident and immediately after. It is someone who was innocent, someone who was okay, who has been violated, and you're seeing her process it. You are seeing her try to move forward and live day by day, and how hard it is, because as it goes on, you really start to see Glory become a lot more, I don't know if I'd say trigger happy is quite the right word, but she becomes colder, she becomes more ruthless, she becomes more angry. It's super interesting. Like, it was always interesting to me that Glory's character development is she becomes P21, and P21's character development is he becomes Glory. From this perspective, it makes a lot more sense. It is, here's the representation of my past becoming my present. And here's this representation of my present moving forward so I can start to become the person I used to be. Not 100%, but I can get better in that regard. And that's super fucking interesting to me. So I just looked at my notes, and the way I said it is, it explains Glory's arc into someone more cold, ruthless, and angry. Glory holds grudges, and I have grudges in all caps. Like, yeah, actually, she fucking does. I love it. And then as for P21, again, he's her love, her anger, and all her sorrow. He is also Blackjack's willingness to forgive and move forward. He refuses to kill her. Like I said, he can't forgive her for everything, but he can forgive her for a lot. He can move forward for a lot. And there's a few ways you can look at that too. If that is just, there's some things I can forgive myself for, but there's some things I can't forgive myself for. Or if it's also, I was hurt by someone, and there are some things I can understand or I can look past, but there are things I can't. There are lines that were fucking crossed. As I kind of said, sorry. P21 is, so I got to go a little bit deeper into that. He's able to forgive the sex stuff, but he can't yet forgive killing the person that she loves. Which I do find interesting in a way, because if Deuce is the embodiment of lust, and Blackjack took care of that, she's able to more let go of that part of her anger. But she can't let go of the wrath. And like I said, Blackjack killing like a U20 in the flashback is not quite wrath, but it feels like wrath adjacent. That's Light Hooves. And it is interesting to me that around the time that P21 is able to say, like, look, I understand my feelings and how I feel about her, I do love her, is around the time they take care of him. Like, him being Light Hooves. Like, take care of lust, the lust part is forgiven. The wrath isn't quite forgiven until we've beaten that particular boss. There's all these coincidence? I think not. There's a lot here. Now, as for the catchphrase counter, it's unchanged from the last chapter, so our final catchphrase tally, Reddit for book 1, Red is Dead is at 6, Not an Executioner at 5, Security Saves Ponies is only once in chapter 1. That's actually wild to me. Not a Smart Pony at 19, Annie up at 6. The kill count for this chapter, there's 11 that I am contributing to Blackjack. There's a Pekko with a fire axe that gets fucked by mind bullets, one with a cowboy hat who gets an axe through his skull. I think it was like the end, like tip point of the axe went through his soul. There's a Pekko with a pistol who had an axe through a temple, and then a gun went into their mouth and fucking blew their brains out. 2 Pekkos get Goomba stomped by Rampage. One, like I said, gets razor-tailed and dragged by Rampage. It was so fucking cool. They say at one point one gets sawed in half by Rampage. Another one gets slammed and like their neck gets fucked up by Rampage. Rampage did some work in this shit. Look, that's 2, 3, 4, 5 were just by her. Blackjack decapitates 1. I count Deuce. I know, like, he comes back. He's not technically dead. Yeah, but that's fucking stupid. I don't care. I'm putting him on the count. You cannot convince me not to. And like I said, I'm including Minnie in this too. Tauros and Gem, no, those were Deuce's kills, but I'm counting her. So that is 11. That means the total that I have for Volume 1 is 153. Keep in mind, Blackjack said, I am not an executioner 5 times. I did the math. For every kill, or excuse me, for every time that she said, I am not an executioner, 30.6 people have died. Numbers. But also, like I keep saying, that's the problem. And yes, I can look at these and say, in context, a lot of the kills in this chapter, not all of them, are really understandable. I had said in the last chapter, like, with this Hydra shit going on, I don't really blame Blackjack for what she's got to do here. There's a lot of other chapters, though, where I'm like, I kind of do blame you for this. And also, this is after a point in the story where Blackjack has not only made it clear, I want to do better, I don't want to kill, but has had specific examples where she hasn't done that. But she'll still kill all of these people and be like, yeah, but I'm not an executioner, it's okay. Yeah, I know that the Pekkos were just bounty hunters trying to do a job, and like, I'm super stressed, I got shit to deal with, I can't waste time with that. But this person is like begging me to finish the job? Sorry, can't do it. It doesn't, for me, maybe it works for other people, like, it just doesn't work for me, and I don't think it ever really will. I think that's it. I say after an hour plus. I don't even think this is the longest episode. But, that was Volume 1. Like I said, I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I think the first third is a little shaky, but fine. Second third is great. The last third is alright. There's some bits I really don't like. There's some bits that do kind of work. But the final chapter, I think, is really good. It's really cool. There are some great character moments, and that final moment of the group hug from the Sentinels was really just the cherry on top.